Dan, have I ever told you about my first tattoo?
No.
Okay, so me and my buddy Nolan, our other co-host here, that we've been unable to get both of you on the podcast for like a year now. We lived together in Southern California. I moved down there when I was 18 after I graduated high school, and like one day we, like most dumb fucking meathead 18-year-olds, decided we were gonna get tattoos. So I decided I was going to get a tramp stamp on the top of my back here. And I went on the internet and looked up at a bunch of shit and decided on this tribal tattoo. It was pretty cool. It's like a square. It's got some shit coming off the side. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Let's roll with that. So we go in and the guy's asking me a bunch of questions. Oh yeah, it's your first tattoo. Yeah, man. And at one point he goes, are you a Metallica fan? And I'm like, sure. I like Metallica. Like, yeah, I listen to him on the radio all the time. And he's like, bitching. And he shoots the tattoo on me. And a couple months later, I find out that I have the Metallica symbol tattooed on my back. I was at the time I was like, "Oh my god, I got to cover this thing up." But now I'm so glad I didn't because I do like Metallica. Metallica's fucking awesome. I would never have tattooed their symbol on my back, but it's a great representation of being young and stupid, I think.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Uh.
Listen up, I'm about to get dope.
What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio. Transmitting from the future-free state of Greater Idaho, I am the one-on madman. And back with us from Music City, America, it's the great Daniel Steele. We're double happied up today. We're
Double
extra
happied
happy.
up. Gladly living in the People's Republic of America.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm going to be officially contributing to that system here in a little bit, which I'm not happy about, but you know.
Why, are you just going to go down to Mexico and come over illegally?
I could do that. That'd be fun.
You can get your money quicker.
Yeah, I could get on disability immediately then. So what's going on, man? How's life? How we doing?
Things are good. Had a good weekend. My buddy owns this bar in East Nashville where I live, and it's pinball and beer. That's what they have. And the bar next to it is a tiki bar, and they're like super friendly. Like you go door to door, and they closed down their parking lot, brought in a wrestling ring, and they call it the Block Party Beatdown.
Oh, cool.
Now, when we started Happy, I thought, our market was just electronic shows. So that's what we've been focused on is electronic shows. And we get there, we set up. The truck pulling the wrestling ring in broke down, so it got there like really late. As they pulled in, it started fucking thunder and lightning and just torrential downpour. So I'm the retard out there holding on to my metal easy up so it doesn't blow away in the lightning storm.
I've been there before, man. At Hangtown one year. Hangtown's a track in Northern California. It's in Folsom. Really hot, really windy from time to time. And we get like dust devils that would turn up in the pits, and you do the same thing. You like hold your easy up or strap it to the ground somehow. And dude, we were sitting on the back of the truck, and this fucking dust devil comes in, and there's this guy parked next to us, and he's sitting on the tailgate of his truck, and he just grabs onto it like that, and the fucking thing rips in, and pretty soon he's 30 feet off the ground.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he went down hard. Left in
Oh,
an
I bet.
ambulance. Like, it's a bad day when you leave the dirt bike track in an ambulance. It's even worse when you leave in an ambulance and you didn't crash on your dirt bike.
Yeah. So it rained for about an hour, and then there was like a 45-minute break in the rain. So we tore down. We got maybe an hour of real vending in, and we sold more product than we've shown at electronic shows where we sat for 6 hours.
Damn.
People just liked the branding. Everybody there was like 30 to 60, so they had fucking money. And I guess I'll announce it and show it now.
Ooh. There we go.
And we have our new product, the Melties. Boom.
Oh, yeah. There we are.
So it's 15 tablets per pack. They're $59 on the website. Over every event that we've done now since we've had them, over half of the people that took a free sample came back and spent $50 or $60 with us.
But that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I was
So
at a I
that
was at a midget wrestling event like a year and a half ago. It was kind of actually the
oh
same thing. It was really fun. It was like Bridget the midget and all these other fucking midgets wrestling, and it was
yeah,
just like a tiny little ring in the back of a bar, like outside. And it
yeah,
was, dude, it was like right at the end of like winter coming into spring, and it was so cold and it was raining and everybody just had a blast. You would have sold a fucking shitload of those things at that club, at that
yeah,
party, because like everybody there is looking to have a good time. There's nobody there like selling party drugs or anything like
yeah,
that. So like if you were to
yeah. So
just
yeah,
post up at a
raves
place like that, they would go crazy for it.
because the kids at raves already have their fucking drugs,
That's what I was
and
just thinking is like they already have drugs. They're not really interested in trying something different. Why would you try some safe and effective thing when I've got a grip of Molly in my pocket?
yeah. And we made the brand to be like on brand with current alternative products, targeted
Yeah.
towards 21 to 30. But guess what? I'm fuck, what am I, 47 next month? I want to feel cool. I'm gonna buy the younger person shit, not the stuffy old brand.
Yeah.
So it's working out great. We're gonna focus more on those types of pop-ups, people with money that don't have easy access to drugs.
That's awesome, dude. I
Yeah.
think that's a winning strategy because yeah, like you said, all of the ravers, they're probably not all that interested.
Nope. And the ones that are like they're already high or they've you know, spent their money on their drugs already.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I used to go to like when I was living in San Francisco, like the AA group that I got connected with was a group of deadheads. It was called the Wharf Rats. Very just incredible people. Saved my life in a lot of ways. And they would go around and go to Fish or Phil Lesh or I don't remember the guy who played drums for the Dead, but he had a bar in San Rafael area that was really good. And they used to set up tent, like not a tent, but like I don't know, a kiosk, I guess would be the best way to put it at like shows. And they'd have yellow balloons going and candy. And it was essentially like a place for sober people to go and kind of meet other sober people there. And then it
Yeah.
was also like, hey, if you're fucked up and you're like really fucked up and you're going through it right now, you can come on over and tell us about it type of thing. And it was a hit or miss kiosk. Like I've been to shows where people were just surrounding it and wanting more information about it and like just interested in what we were doing. And then like when we went to Fish, nobody. Like they
Nobody.
had a great spot for it like right in the front and just nobody was interested.
Yep. So if you're interested in the Melties, go to GetHappy, GETHVPPY.com. Use the coupon code too hard for 20% off, I think, maybe 25.
Absolutely.
If you don't like it, I'll give you your money back.
Are we at the
Great.
final formulation at this point?
Yeah, this is it. It took us, we started working on this form factor in early January and just going back and forth, getting the blend right. There was one that because they last my experience, especially with this formulation, put under your tongue. You have to leave it under your tongue till it melts. Start feeling it in like 3 to 5 minutes. It's melted in 5 minutes, and it's just a good euphoric buzz for 45 minutes. So they've always been about 45 minutes, but one that they sent me, I took at 10:30 in the morning, thinking, oh, I don't have a call till 12:30. I was high for 10 fucking hours.
Oh wow.
This is not that.
Yeah.
This formulation I did when we got like the first samples of this formulation. I went to a show at a nightclub, and I took two, which was a mistake because I didn't understand how it was going to feel.
Mhm.
So I'm like in the crowd. I'm like, oh, this feels good. And I'm like, these people are really fucking close to me. Like, leave me alone. So I go and I lean against the wall, and the bass was so hard that the wall was shaking. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna puke. And so I just went home. I didn't puke and like just leveled out, got out all that stimulation. But it's a good time. Even the people who it doesn't have a significant effect for, they're like, I'm just in a good mood. Nobody can kill my good mood right now. And like
Which is
that's
great.
the worst results that we've had.
And so they're anywhere from a good mood to a complete face melter.
Yeah, and to your dick just being like this.
Oh,
hard.
really? That's fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
yes.
that's not a medical claim. It's just like a lot of reports that I'm getting, including myself. Actually, the first time I took so we have two different kinds of canna in this, and because one is just like so intense,
Mhm.
and then we have one that has a little more uppy feel. The one that's the most intense, I went to a music festival at the end of July last year, and we were taking it, and my buddy was staying with us in the RV. So like you don't want to be disrespectful and have sex, but my dick was hard all night. I had to like sit on the edge of the bed in the RV and just put my dick under my leg just so I could get up and not have to stand on my head in this little RV bathroom. Yeah, it's a good time.
You got piss everywhere.
GETHVPPY.com.
And just so people know, like if this was me and I was buying these for the first time, the first thing I would do is crush it up and put it up my nose. Don't do that. It's not made for that. It is made, like Dan said, you put it under your tongue and you let it melt. That's how I take my ketamine. Now, I'm not sure what would happen if I did crush up and snort my ketamine. I don't really want to know because it's a big pill and that'd be a whole lot of lines. But yeah, just do like Dan says, and don't be a disgusting loser like me.
Yeah. Also, we did make a powder form factor to put under your tongue. We're not insured for snorting things, but the problem with the powder and why we went into the tablet was the powder's like, so you're scooping it off this really tiny spoon,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like getting in spit under your tongue, and a lot of people were just like swallowing
Yep.
it, which your liver can kill the bioavailability. With this, it's just you get it, and
That's
since you're pressing down with your tongue, it's like going across more pores, so it's coming out more evenly and quicker.
Yep. And you want to
It's
kind
a
of
good
have
time.
your mouth a little bit dry. Not like super dry because it has to still be able to melt, but you don't want to be like salivating heavily, you know? Like I've learned that. So when I first started taking ketamine, they gave it to me in a wax type pill. And it had like a weird like pomegranate taste to it, which I just did not like. So I would like chop it up and make it into like a powder and then not like powder, but the wax powder and then put it under my tongue. And I was just kind of swallowing it because it tasted so gross. And I finally asked him, like, do you guys have anything better than this? Like, I really don't like this. And like, oh yeah, we can give it to you in a powder. And the powder tastes like shit too, but it dissolves way fucking faster. And they were telling me the same thing. If you're just swallowing it like you did with the wax pill, you're not getting the full effect because it doesn't work through your liver
Past the liver,
properly or
yeah.
whatever it was that you said.
Yep. So yeah, well, everybody go buy it. I'll put my reputation behind this one.
Hell yeah, man. So how are we
Um,
going to integrate AI into this business? Is your agent going to run the business for you?
um, so I'll just talk about my other project, I guess, real quick. When I started that company, Influential, we were the first influencer marketing company to use AI, and but it was really limited what you could do. It was nothing like what we have now. We had a lot of ideas, like can't wait till the technology's there to do this.
Mhm.
And back around Valentine's Day, my buddy called me and he said, "Hey, I have access to 20 million accounts across all of the major social platforms with a 10-year history. Do you think you can do anything with that data?" And I've been thinking about this shit for 10 years, you know? So I called a couple people, and what the way I thought about it was having a Shopify store. You would have like your analytics from Shopify, Google gives you analytics, the platform that you're advertising on, which is most often Meta or Facebook, gives you analytics, and then you get a spreadsheet from your agency, and all the numbers are different. And I'm like, well, what if I could just talk to my data? Like, I want to know what my conversion rate was from Shopify. I want to know how many clicks I got from Google Analytics. I want to know how much I spent from Facebook, and I'll get like a real number.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, what if you could just talk to the social data? So that's what we started building. I started working with this dude. He's a fucking badass. He has the same last name as me. He's 2 years younger than me. Lives less than a mile away. Like very well could be brothers. Didn't know of each other. Not related at all. Then we got together on this partnership. So we started building for that, and the people that we're buying the data from are terribly slow. I don't even know that we're gonna get a data deal done, and I like can't bank on it. But I started looking at what my co-founder built, and I realized last week actually that because I have friends that are like trying to make their companies AI first, and they're paying consultants and bringing in this and bringing in that. But the way that this platform is built is it's so that any company or any organization can be AI first in like 15 minutes worth of setup.
Wow.
So imagine connecting your calendar, your documents, your email, your analytics for your website or your podcast downloads,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Every piece of information that you bring in, that you go from app to app, and just having a chat interface being like, hey, you know, was on a podcast with Dan Steele 2 weeks ago. He said something about Israel,
Yeah.
which I never did. Um, what was he saying? And it can go
Yeah.
back and tell you, like it pulls in
Dude,
your meeting notes, your
that would be
emails.
so great for me. I forget
Your
things like I have brain damage. So like
Yeah.
if I'm editing a podcast a week or two after I did it, I have no idea what we discussed. Like if I don't come up with a show title, I have to scan through and like listen to segments and kind of see what we were talking. Like I get the exact thing, but like what you were saying, Dan mentioned something like that happens to me all the time with the podcast. Like, oh, I wish I could clip that segment. You know, I just started with a new AI clipping program, which has worked really good. It's called Opius Pro. And I essentially just put a link down to a YouTube video and it goes through and gives me 20 clips in like 10-15 minutes. It gives them titles, it adds hashtags, whatever it thinks it does. It does what do they call it? Subtitles in like different
Yeah.
colors, and it kind of like accentuates different things with a bright green versus a red or something like. It's a very, very good program. And as soon as I started using it, I think I told you that I did a consult with a company that does like management. They do clips, they do your editing, all that type of shit. And I knew it was going to be too expensive for me when I was like doing the consult, but I kind of wanted to know how much it was. And like as I'm talking to the guy, I'm thinking, okay, like how much would it be a month? I'm trying to think like, okay, these guys are going to be doing this much work. I know how much work it takes me to make clips. You know, it would take me an entire day to make clips for a week, and they wouldn't be that great. And it's just a total pain in the ass. And I was thinking, all right, these guys are going to want $400 or $500 a month at least. And it turned out to be like $2,700 a month, which was just outrageous. And now that I'm using this program, I'm thinking that those fucking guys aren't doing any of the shit that I thought they were doing. I was thinking they're going to go through and they're going to physically edit it. They're going to physically, no. They're going to use one of these programs and then they're going to upcharge you because this program cost me like $175 for a year.
Yeah.
And they're going to
No.
charge me $2,700 a month so they can use these programs behind my back. And it was a joke. And then like
Or have no profit margin and pay somebody to do all that work.
either way, right?
Yeah.
So it was a scam, I think. And I'm so glad that I got into this clipping program because it's been working very well. It does have some problems with like loading things up. I haven't tried that service that you told me about yet for scheduling things. I just haven't had a chance. Buffer.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to sit down and do with it. I've had
I
fucking
haven't used
Yard
it in
and
years, but like that company, they're so transparent that they tell you how much every employee of theirs makes.
wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. And I don't know if they include bonuses and stock options, but like they're just like, here's who we are, here's what we do, here's what we make doing it. And it's a really, really powerful app. What analytics do you use for your podcast?
I just get the stuff off of my RSS feed. It gives me downloads, which is
Okay.
kind of, I don't know what to think about downloads because, like me personally, I've never downloaded a podcast. I listen to podcasts at my house for the most part.
Right.
So, like, I would never show up in any of the downloads of all the podcasts that I watch. And I don't think that's a normal thing. I think most people probably do download them and listen to them in their car and shit like that. But I'm not really sure,
No,
and
everybody streams now. Like,
yeah. So, and actually though, like, so I shouldn't say I took a month off when I broke my shoulder. I just didn't have the energy to do like the editing and interviews because like you were off for a couple weeks, Nolan was off for a couple weeks, and I just decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna take a couple weeks off. And the downloads have dropped significantly, which sucks, but it also does like tell me that okay, like we were actually building and these numbers aren't
Yeah.
fake, So it was kind of encouraging. We're getting back up again. It's probably going to take a couple more weeks to get back up to where we were, but we're going to be there soon. and it's doing well. Like I'm getting a lot more feedback from people that I know. My mom told me the other day my grandmother's caretaker loves the podcast,
Oh,
and it's just
shout
like,
out
yeah,
grandmama's caretaker.
yeah, how are we doing?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and I'm somebody
Are
else hit
the
me up
shorts
like,
doing anything for you?
yeah, they're well, yes and no. Like they're getting a lot of views, they're getting some interactions and comments, but our subscribers have not gone up significantly. I think we've gotten like 5 or 7 subscribers since I've started doing clips, which is, more than we were
Are
getting
you
by just doing the podcast itself.
putting them on TikTok too?
You know what? I was going to ask you about that. Do you think I should? I kind of think I should.
I some of the clips that you post are a little long.
Yeah.
So I would try to stay under a minute and probably target 30 seconds. And at the end of the clip, just put a link in bio. And my buddy just put together a new link in bio app where you can like put the different episodes in. So every time there's a new episode, you can link to that, but it'll have a history of it. Um, yeah, but TikTok it's the biggest right now. TikTok and YouTube Shorts.
So like
Are you doing
I was
Instagram?
kind of under the impression that the longer clips were better. On YouTube anyways, I've gotten better interactions on the minute to 2 minute than I have on
Yeah,
like the
it's a
20 to
different
30
platform.
seconds.
Yeah,
Um
it's a different platform. It's
yeah, so like
so
and that's
like
good
kind
because
of
like
select.
it gives me a lot of like 20-second clips and I feel like
Yeah.
that's not enough really for a clip. Like it gives me like 18 to 25 seconds. There's probably 10 of those. And like
That's great if you're going on TikTok
yeah.
because you only have so the way TikTok works is my wife used to manage this girl. She had 12 million followers. When she would post a video that got 2 million views, maybe only 500,000 of those views were her followers. You have to like play for the algorithm. And if you're just putting out consistent content on a topic that's interesting, the algorithm's going to pick you up. But if people swipe out of your video, it's not based on a number of seconds. It's based on a number of or percentage complete of the video.
Mm,
So if people wait 5 seconds and they swipe out on a 20-second video, it's 25% of the thing.
yeah.
On a 2-minute video, it's
Oh.
like you got, I'm not doing quick math right now.
Yeah, no, I
Like
get that.
4%, something like that.
And shout out to Carla. I was drawing a blank on her name. Her name is Carla.
Shout out Carla.
Yeah.
Try
She's
some
done
happy.
she's done a great thing for our family. Like she, took care of my grandmother and my grandmother loved her like a sister and she did a great thing for our family. So I'm happy that she's watching the podcast. Anyways, back to it. But I was gonna
oh,
say, like, I never liked putting our content up on like Instagram and Facebook so much because it's my friends and family, and I kind of don't feel like I should force the podcast on friends and family. But I've gotten great interactions from friends and family now that I've been putting them up on Instagram and Facebook. So I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm not doing
yeah.
the same type of clips, like if it's something business related. I'm more doing the clips that are kind of like about me. So they
Yeah.
kind of, like I did, like there was a couple about my injury. There was a couple about like lost time from, so I felt like those were good clips to show to my friends and family rather than like some, business clip or technology or whatever else we're talking about. I've been kind of putting up the weird videos more than like the serious videos. And that's kind of just because I like those type of videos better a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Like that's something that I would enjoy watching, but I'm going to try other stuff too.
So I haven't spoken with anybody from Instagram in a couple of years. But the last time I spoke with somebody, they gave me the formula, and I don't think it's changed very much, but it's a lot of content. It's 6 stories a day, 6 to 12 stories a day, one reel a day, one static post a week, which is
A lot.
a lot. But if you're getting that many 20-second clips,
Yeah.
you can do just 6 stories or 5 stories as just stories and post one reel and post that to your story too.
I forgot about the
Um,
stories.
yeah.
I don't
The
use
stories
Instagram
is
really. So
I
it's weird for me
yeah.
to use it because I never go there for content, and which I should because there's like great dirt bike content on there. Like Instagram has been the greatest thing for dirt bike racing since like I don't even know. Like,
Combustion engines.
yeah, I don't even since the four strokes came in, I would say, I guess. But like it gives these guys a chance to show you like who they are. Because when you're watching the race on TV, you're seeing the top guys. They're talking about the top guys. But like if you go back in the pack, these guys are still incredible. The guys that are getting, 15th to 20th and shit like that. These guys are nuts. Like if you saw them at your local track, you'd be like, this is the best racer in the world. You'd be like, no, that guy
Yeah.
is like maybe top 20 if he's lucky. And you'd be like, how is that even possible? Like you can't go any faster on a dirt bike, but you can. But those guys are still talented. Like
Yep.
there's just a massive discrepancy between, you know, there's a big discrepancy between like an Aaron Rodgers and a backup quarterback on a bad team. Like that's a
Yeah.
massive gap in talent, but they're still very talented people. So like for these dirt bike racers, they're able to put clips up during the week of what they're doing, training. And now they're doing vlogs, which is really cool because for the most part, like you don't get to see what they do behind closed doors. You don't get to see how they practice or what they do to the bike. And they still don't really show you what they do to the bike, but you get a little bit more information and you get to like see who these guys really are. And then at that point, like those battles in the back mean more to you because you know those people. There was a guy recently, very sad story. It's a guy named Jerry Robin, who's one of the, he's like a mid-pack supercross guy, very good, like 10 to 15 area. And he broke his neck on or back on a practice day, right before the race was starting. They were running practice and he broke his back. And like luckily for him, he had just done a very big motocross podcast the week before that tons of people watch. I watched it because it's interesting. Most of my podcasts are motocross podcasts. I don't really do political podcasts all that often anymore. Every once in a while I'll listen to some Dave Smith to just kind of see what's going on. But I'm like all into motocross. So when that happened to him, it was like, holy crap. It's not just some name and number that I see on the ticker. Like, I know this guy now. I just watched him for 4 hours, talk
Yeah.
about what he did and how he got here. So when that happens, you really feel for him, and I sent him
Yeah.
Instagram messages and thousands of people. I think they raised like $1 million for him in a couple weeks, which is just
That's
incredible.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than he would have ever made racing.
My problem with Instagram is it pushes sex
Yes,
really bad.
dude.
So when you go into the app, I generally just watch stories. I barely scroll through photos. And then I go to search, like, oh, I think there's an event at some bar that I like. I'm gonna go search for that bar. And if I'm not actively working on my For You page, it just turns into all girls acting like they're sucking dick.
Yeah.
That's it. And I tell my wife, I'm like, look, I haven't been on fucking Instagram lately. And that's annoying, whatever. But think about the kids,
Yeah.
you know,
That's a kid's
it-
site for the most part.
TikTok.
I guess,
TikTok's a
yeah,
kid's
you're
site.
right. Yeah, it's more of an adult site. But dude, I get the same thing. Like, I don't even follow any sluts or anything on Instagram. And
Yeah.
it's like, if I go on Instagram, all I want to see is dirt bike stuff. That's all I
Yeah.
want to see. I want to see guys doing cool things on dirt bikes during the week. There's a guy named Kevin Windham who's one of the greats. He trains people, and if they're not doing a section right, he just jumps on their bike with no helmet on and does the section. And it's just incredible to watch because he's still, one of the baddest dudes that's ever done it. And to watch him just ripping through a whoop section in tennis shoes and jeans and no helmet is just incredible. But I start scrolling and all I'm seeing is sluts doing slut things. Like you said, pretending to suck dick or pretending to get fucked on their back. Or like there's all these weird trends that go
Yeah,
on
and
onto
it's-
Instagram. And then they all do the exact same. You know what really bothers me is like I get a lot of videos of like hot chicks dancing on supercars and shit. And it's just like, ugh. Stop doing that. I hate it.
Get off that car.
Yeah. Just, you're
Well,
not
they
that
can't-
hot.
Yeah.
And that's like,
Yeah, it's-
for most of them aren't that hot. And it's, dude, have you ever seen those videos where like these disgusting, nasty old women are like toothless and they're doing, and then you see them put their makeup on. And by the time they put it on, she looks like she's a 7 or an 8. It's disturbing.
Yeah, it's definitely not for me.
No, me neither. I'm not into it.
Oh, if anybody is managing or running a business, or some sort of operational role, I'd love to hear from you, just to hear what softwares you use, how you'd like to keep things together, what data you'd like, because we're gonna put out a million in it, not a million, but a bunch of integrations in the next 3 or 4 months. So the goal is to make this just a big part of what we're building is okay. So this week, Google released a bunch of really cool shit. A month ago, it was DeepSeek, and it's like Grok is doing something good, OpenAI is doing something good, and it's this arms race. As somebody who's invested in it, really fucking hard to keep up with. Like I have real trouble understanding where it is. The way that we're building it is so when you send a message to ChatGPT prompt, it goes to ChatGPT and it gives you the best response. And what we're doing is you're going to send a message into my platform. We're going to have one agent that breaks your message into chunks of, okay, so like, this is the math chunk,
Mhm.
this is the writing chunk, this is the, deep research chunk. And then for math, it'll send it to Google's new math LLM. For deep research, it might go to Grok Deep Research.
Mhm.
And for or for writing, it might go to Claude. And then kind of supervises them, takes those responses back and gives it to you in one chunk. So I quite often I find myself going from Manus to Grok to
Yeah.
OpenAI, and it'll just give you the best of each one.
Yeah.
And as each one gets better, because it's an arms race and
Yeah.
everybody's racing
You
for
kind of
it.
have to check at least two to get the right
Yeah,
answer a
yeah,
lot of the
but
times. Like I'm back and forth between Grok and ChatGPT because they give different answers a lot of time, and you got to kind of suss out which you think is right, you know?
yeah. So we do all of that work for you. You don't have to watch 3 podcasts a week about which AI is best
Yeah.
and who's doing what and what's going on. You just get the optimal. So you're able to connect all of the things that are important to you, send queries about it to the optimal LLM, and get real actionable insights. And then you also get a daily email with all of the things that are important to you. So for you, it'd be like podcast downloads, maybe or downloads, views, so Instagram, YouTube, all that shit.
What's going on in motocross? Did somebody get hurt this week? You know,
We're
kind of
not
follow
building
that.
for
Not
motocross
there
news
yet.
just
We're
yet.
not
We
there yet.
might.
You know,
This is more for business.
I had a guy on the podcast last week. It'll probably come out Sunday or maybe next Tuesday, depending on how this episode with Nolan goes later tonight. And he's using agents. He's doing kind of the same type of thing. He had a great idea that I'd never thought of, and maybe in another month or two, I'll try and get him on with you because that'd be a great conversation between the two of you guys, and I can just kind of hang out and listen. But his idea was, hey, look, if you're looking to get out of the city, go move to a small town and upgrade all of their infrastructure, all their digital infrastructure. Go around to the auto shops, to the restaurants, to the donut shop, and build them websites and then charge them $25 to manage each month. And he had a couple
Yeah.
other ideas, but I thought that was a really good idea and a great use of technology because like here in Nampa where I live, there's a couple really great spots that just aren't popping off. Like I buy my meat from this place called H&M Meats and they opened up like a barbecue restaurant with it. And every time I go in there, they're fucking empty. And they have the best barbecue in the valley, so they shouldn't be empty. And like
Yeah.
if I was looking to do something like that, I should go in. I would go in there and say, "Hey, look, what is going on here? Why are you guys empty? What do you think is happening? What do you think needs to happen in order to fill this place up?" And like, yeah, let's get you guys rocking.
Yeah. And that's what this is designed for. Imagine that bar you worked at if you were managing. You're about to you're about to hire somebody and they're only going to work Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon until you see if you like them or not. Wouldn't it be great to tell them how much tips they should probably earn?
Yeah.
So we're going to connect with Clover and Square and all of the smaller POS systems, like 60% of my drinks have 1.5 ounces of lemon juice in them. Based on historical sales in June, how many lemons should I order for
Oh,
June?
dude, that would be so helpful because that type of shit is really hard to do to
And
forecast
we've already got it
how
built.
much
We
liquor
just
you
have to
should
build.
buy,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And we would do that a lot. Like I can't tell you how much like the deal was for, but we ended up buying like 50 or 100 cases of Sailor Jerry's at one point because it was
Yeah.
just a great price. And
Yep.
we knew we would sell it at some point. Like we had a tiki bar, so I made a lot of Mai Tais back there. Yeah, man, like let's figure out how much our bartenders are making per shift. And like you said, hey man, this is going to be your shift. Wednesday night, you're going to work the tiki bar. You should make $150 tonight. If you don't
Yep.
make $150, we've got a problem and we need to figure out what that problem is. If it's solvable, is it just because you're struggling with the system or is it because you have other
Or was there a
problems?
thunderstorm?
Yeah, whatever
Well,
else happened.
I don't know
And
that
we
we'll be
were
able to get
always
that
trying.
macro.
So we were looking always every day. The last bar I worked in was the best bar I ever worked in because they were open about numbers. Every other bar I've worked in wouldn't tell you how much you were bringing in, like how much you had in sales. So like every day it would be like, all right, this day last year we made, $2,000 between 11 and 12 o'clock. We made $4,000 between 12 and 1. And we would look at these forecasts and you would schedule based on last year's numbers. But if you had something that could look into other data points, like you said, like weather, like travel patterns, because we were
Yep.
working on we were a Pier 39 bar, so we depended on tourism. So like, okay, what about this country? We get a lot of Australians. Are they traveling? Is there a financial problem going over there that's going to keep them from traveling this year? Football games. Last year there was a football game. It was the 49ers versus the Saints and we had a bunch of people in, we did like because we were a sports bar, we catered to people who were out of town and wanted to watch the game. So one of the things that we did was I was on the internet one day and I was just fucking around looking at different things and I found a guy who was the head of like a fan organization for the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers are in the same division, so they play twice a year, once in San Francisco, once in Seattle. So I messaged this guy and I was like, "Hey man, I'm, a bartender here at this bar. Like, would you guys like to come in and, use our bar as your meeting spot for your traveling fan group?" And they were like, "Oh, that would be incredible. Like, we're always trying to find a place to go. Like, that would be awesome." So they came in, we made a ton of money. We fucking killed it. And then my boss took it to another level and started reaching out all over the country to these different groups. We had a group of Texans fans come in. We had like 1,000 people in the bar. We sold, what's that beer that they like? I don't remember. They had some beer that they wanted us to stock for them. So we stocked it and we just sold tons and tons of this beer. And like, dude, an AI could go through and find all of these groups for you instead of having to like dig around and look for this stuff. Like, it would be so nice to just have some agent being like, "Oh, here we go. Here's another one."
Yeah. And think about, so that's really a good point about the beer. Let's say you got that deal with Sailor Jerry's
Mhm.
and you paid like 25% the normal cost for a
Which is
bottle.
which is about what we did.
And you reach out to New Orleans Saints fans. Well, okay, so now I have this liquor that's way less than it should be. So I can cut prices 30% on a special
Yep.
and still make more of a margin than I normally do.
Yep.
What's a drink that New Orleans people like? It's hurricanes. Like
Mhm.
it's just a bunch of rum and sugar and
Mhm.
shit. Okay, so now I can fly through the Sailor Jerry's and buy the next deal where I'm getting it at 25 cents on the dollar. Yeah,
Dude,
I
we
mean,
would do that.
obviously,
We
in the
made we made
beginning, we're not
massive
there.
batches of Mai Tais that you just
Yeah,
have in deals, so you could
yeah,
just pour it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
just done.
And we would do specials. We would do shot specials if we had, we have a bunch of this liquor that we haven't been able to sell. Okay, let me make a fancy shot out of it, and
Yeah.
just put it into a big jug and pour. We did a lot of that stuff. It was really good.
Or-
My boss there was so smart. Like he had never ran a restaurant before, but he was so good at it. Like he was really good at like helping me do my job really well. He was great at like priming the crowd. It's the only bar that I worked at where he had a comp tab. Like
Yeah.
most like the corporate bars that I work for, you didn't give away drinks ever. Like it just didn't happen, never. And here you had a comp tab and they let you like, hey, if you got a buddy come in, comp them a beer, that's no problem. But what we really want to use this for is to get other people to buy drinks. And my boss was great at this. So a group of girls would come in. You get 3 girls come in, sit at the bar, and he'd come back, "Hey, you guys want shots? Hell yeah, we'll take a shot, on the house." So I'm making 3 shots, and we've got 10 other people sitting around the bar. Who else wants a shot? You know?
Yeah.
And then pretty soon we give away 3 and we sell 7. You know,
Yeah.
and now everybody's together, they're drinking, they're having a good time, they're buying each other shots, and it's a way to get the ball rolling and make some fucking money, you know? And
Yeah.
it was so smart to allow us to do that.
You know, this makes me think. I dated a girl who was a bartender in New Orleans, and she would read the convention list every week, and she would know what conventions were in town and try to put together like a archetype for the people that were going to be in town, decide how much to work and all that. I want We can pull in that data, especially in cities like Nashville, Las Vegas, shit like that. Then you could make branded shots. You know,
Yeah.
a Sex on the Beach could be, whatever.
Mhm.
It's still the same drink, but you call it the
Dude,
Oracle shot when the Oracle conference is in town or whatever.
I used to do that when I was a salesman in Southern California. I would sell a product that people like to use. It grows in gardens, it grows in homes, and I would go down there and I would try to sell this product at its normal name, and people know that name and they don't like that name because it's not a name brand of the product that I'm selling. It's not a top tier, you know,
Yeah.
name of the product. So I would just make up my own fucking names and then the stuff would sell fine.
Mhm. You know how Red Bull first got popular?
No.
The the guy, the founder, I guess, or the head of marketing, I think he was in Chicago. One of those cities though, not New York, not LA. And he would sneak in he'd bring a crew with him and sneak in as many empty Red Bull cans as he could and just litter the floor with them.
Huh.
And then he would go into the bar on Monday. People are like, so many people are drinking your shit. What's going on? He's like, yeah, we made Jaeger bombs. You never heard of this?
Yeah.
It's Red Bull and Jaeger, and the women really like Red Bull and vodka because
Yeah.
it evens them off.
Yeah.
It tastes like shit and it's poison inside of it,
Yeah.
but clearly everybody likes it because they're putting cans all over your fucking bar.
Yeah.
Just as many cans as they could sneak in. And then it became a Jaeger bomb and Red Bull vodka would go on special in Chicago. I'm pretty sure it's Chicago, which is a city where enough people visit, and then they go back to Atlanta and they're like, "Yo, can I get a Jaeger bomb? Fuck's a Jaeger bomb. Oh, I have some Red Bull myself.
Yeah.
Will you just pour those together for me?"
Yeah.
And that's how it spread.
They're
Another interest.
they
Another
were
interesting
actually
fact.
they were actually very smart with their logo and their branding as well. So like they instantly got into extreme sports. They've been a huge supporter of motocross for fucking years. Without Red Bull and Monster, we may not have a series. Like they kind of support it. And back then, you couldn't buy a Red Bull hat or a Red Bull shirt. You had to be a Red Bull athlete to get
Yeah.
those things. So I remember one day I was working in Southern California and this guy came in with a Red Bull hat and a Red Bull jacket on. And I instantly knew, I was like, oh, this guy's a badass. Like, I don't know what he
Yeah.
does, but if he's got a Red Bull hat and a Red Bull jacket on, he's a fucking badass. And he turned out to be like a professional skydiver. So he would like skydive into stadiums and shit like that. And I think they've gone away from that a little bit now. I've seen people in public wearing Red Bull stuff, but I thought it was very smart not to allow people to use your brand like that.
Yeah. So a few fun facts, and these are years old, so I could be off. But last time I heard of them, they sponsored this. One of the investors in one of the companies I worked with also invested in a thing called GRC, Global Rallycross, and it's all drifting except for a straightaway that turns into dirt with a dirt jump. And I think I was talking to a rep from Red Bull because I went to whatever, the paddock or whatever, because I was there's one of the owner's friends, and he was saying that the brand equity of Red Bull is continuing to rise, and their sales are going down because people are getting more conscious about what they're putting in their body.
Yeah.
But and they have the second largest air force in the world.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh,
You know, they
I'm gonna
actually,
fact check
so
myself on
their
that one.
drinks are so poisonous that like the racers who are sponsored by Red Bull don't drink it.
Yeah.
They're up on the podium and they're holding up their Red Bull, but the can has water in it. Back in the day, they used to dump the cans and then add water to them, but now I've heard that they just make cans full of water for their athletes. I'd like to get one off of eBay just to have one. I guess I could vamp a little bit more while you're looking up. You
Yeah.
know, Monster's been a big one for us in motocross, but I don't know how these, like you said, I don't know how these companies are gonna make money in the future with everybody being conscious of what's in this stuff now. I mean, maybe they'll start making something that's healthier. I, I, I don't know.
So I'll show you what I'm drinking now instead of Red Bull, and then I'm going to tell you about uh, so yerba mate, which I don't like the way mate tastes, but this one is classic gold. It tastes like ginger soda,
Hmm.
and it has more caffeine than Red Bull.
I drink Mountain Dew all day. Very bad.
I was on a good balance of we'd go to Costco once every week or every other week. I'd get 2 things of Coke Zero and one of the packs of Red Bull, and I'm completely off of that now. And I've been drinking this stuff called Yapun Holly, and it's really interesting. It's the only caffeine that grows naturally in North America.
Huh.
It grows in the southeast, and it's not. I think it's Yapin, something like that. It grows in the southeast, but during colonial times, it was competitive with the East India Trading Company. So they named the plant in English the Spanish word for vomit. And they
Oh.
said only savages will drink this. And it's fucking tasty, bro. It is tasty.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
it has the same amount of caffeine as green tea. It has theobromine, which is the shit that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Um, it made the stuff in chocolate that makes you feel good. I was very wrong about the number of airplanes.
Oh, really? Yeah, I
Um,
thought
yeah,
I know they have a lot of really nice old planes. Like they I've
they've
seen
cut
some
back. They're
great
down to
videos.
30. They're down to 30 total.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
Um,
they make great content. Like Red
yeah.
Bull puts a lot of money into production. Like some of their skiing videos and snowboarding videos and like motocross videos are just so fucking good. They're great with helicopters.
You know how cheap it is compared to like advertising at the Super Bowl or F1?
Oh, it's got to be way cheaper to make your own
Yeah.
videos on YouTube. And they get millions and millions of views.
Yeah.
It's not like
Which,
they're just
yeah.
nothings. And
And it's not even like, hey, buy a Red Bull. It's just like, so that like when you're at the point of purchase, you're like, oh, I'm going to get a pick fucking yerba mate or the people putting out this really cool content.
yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, especially if you're tied to one of those sports, people who
Yeah.
are into motocross or into snowboarding they're in it. It's not like it's just something that you casually check out every once in a while. Like, if you're in it, you're in it. Like, I love motocross racing. It's, one of the only things I care about in life at this point. And I love watching those videos. I love watching these guys do insane things that you would never think of, riding around in a mall on a dirt bike, just
Yeah.
doing wheelies everywhere. And I enjoy them so much.
Yeah.
Monster's been doing these things where for some reason, like motocross is just not a popular sport. All of the athletes are very well respected in like professional athlete circles. Like many pro athletes follow motocross because they recognize how badass the dudes up front are. Like I think the University of California, Davis did a study in like the late 90s, early 2000s about the most difficult sports in the world. And they found motocross to be the most physically intensive because you're doing 35 minutes at 180 BPMs to 220 BPMs and you don't stop. And there's not really
Yeah.
a sport like that. Like hockey players get breaks, but they play really hard. Boxing, rounds get over. Like MMA, these are really intense physical sports, but it's not the same cardiovascular output that you need as like a motocross racer. And they've been like pairing athletes that they sponsor in different sports. So like Sean Strickland went out and rode dirt bikes with this guy named Axel Hodges, who is like a very, very good dirt bike rider, one of the best like free riders. And he broke his arm. So then he brought Axel over into a UFC training ring and beat the shit out of him for it. So they're doing
Dude,
this crossover thing to try and get people from different sports to recognize the other one, which I think is really cool.
do you know much about him?
John Strickland? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a
fucking
badass.
maniac.
He's a fucking animal.
Somebody,
He's
if
awesome.
there's anybody that doesn't deserve to have a platform and have people take him seriously, it's him.
Yeah.
But he's very serious about what he talks about.
I love him.
But
I think he's great.
I do too, but it's like, dude, you're so close.
Yeah.
But you've just been punched in the face too many times.
And he's so good that that's like when you have fuck you talent, Aaron Rodgers is a bad fucking dude. Name me another professional athlete that will go on Joe Rogan and talk shit about the government or the media or anything that Aaron Rodgers said while he was on Joe Rogan for 3 hours. There's not a professional athlete in the fucking country that is willing to talk like that because they don't have fuck you money and fuck you talent. Like Aaron Rodgers is a bad motherfucker. You cannot get rid of him. It's just not going to happen. He can say whatever he wants.
Yeah. He couldn't go as far as Kanye.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. I don't think he's going to go that far. Jake Shields went further than Kanye, and he's still
and
in the public view.
In our view,
Yeah.
he's not in the public view.
He gets his Twitter clips get a lot of fucking interaction on him.
Yeah, but he's not Aaron Rodgers.
No. Aaron Rodgers is a household name. Jake Shields is not.
No, he wasn't before he became.
You don't even have to be
or whatever.
You don't even have to be a football fan to know who Aaron Rodgers is.
Which I'm clearly not.
Yeah,
so
me neither. I don't watch football anymore either. But I did when Aaron Rodgers was in. But I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying.
I want to go back to Kanye for a minute.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I had this realization. So when he got back on Twitter, he was like, "Free P Diddy." Like that was his thing, and then he went off on his whole rant and started publishing this ridiculous music. And I haven't even really listened to it, but I've seen the lyrics post.
Is his
Just
new
'cause,
album out yet?
He's releasing songs, and in one of the songs he talks about sucking his cousin's dick. In one of the songs, the anthem of the summer, apparently, he talks about liking to watch his woman get fucked,
which is so weird.
I haven't paid attention to the Diddy trials, but names are getting named right now, as we speak, the trials happening. And I wonder if he just preemptively said, "Yeah, I'm a cocksucker. Yeah, I like watching my bitch get fucked," in a song. So everybody's like, "Yeah, of course, Kanye likes watching his bitch get fucked."
So when the video comes out, people aren't going to freak out about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. I like that. What do you think's going to happen in the Diddy case? I haven't been following it. You haven't been following it. Do you think he's going to get? Do you think he goes to jail?
Yeah, but nobody else.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. He goes away and everybody else walks.
All of the names are pretty much the same names that were on the Epstein list. There's some people that I'm like, because you could go to the party and still not rape people.
Sure.
Too. So I don't know. Kevin Hart's rise to fame was pretty fast. And Kevin Hart, I have to say, he wasn't on that rise to fame. And then Tracy Morgan had his limo smashed by a semi from Walmart.
Yeah.
And then Kevin came up. And just tangential story.
I
was just going
to say, I don't find Kevin Hart to be funny. When I was in line school, everybody was doing his jokes. And we went home one night. I
couldn't tell you any of them.
Yeah. And we went back and me and my roommate were like, all right, let's watch this comedy special so we know what these guys are talking about. And we both watched it and we were like, that wasn't funny.
So one summer I was working on a product called Silly Bands, and I was with the owner who was always trying to be baller shit. And Friday or Thursday we go to Adrienne Malouf's house, and Adrienne Malouf, her husband was the Beverly Hills plastic surgeon. She was on Housewives of Beverly Hills. Go in and they have Fabergé eggs and shit. We're at the top of a mountain in Beverly Hills with no fucking cell service and stuff. And I'm like, whatever. It was just gaudy, I guess. And then we went to Vegas and we went to this illegal poker game in this mansion, not far from where I lived when I lived in Vegas. It's just in this unassuming neighborhood with no HOA. And it looked like a fucking rap video, dude. There were just whores in bikinis everywhere. I walk in, and Kevin Hart, little guy, God bless his soul, had like this glass of wine, but it looked like a big goblet.
Chalice.
He's like, turning it
Got a
around.
fucking
Yeah.
chalice.
And he's winning, raking in like $200,000. And dude, that man lights up a room unlike anybody I've ever encountered, ever. And so like I obviously like he had to put $50,000 down or something like that to play. I obviously didn't play, but I was sitting there texting my girlfriend about what a fucking ridiculous situation I was in. And security came up, they snatched my phone,
Wow.
and they're like, "Need your camera roll. We don't play that shit here." I'm like, "Bro, I was just texting. I didn't take any pictures." I showed him. He's like, "All right, just put your fucking phone away." And then I think the basketball player's name was Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
He was a warrior.
his team had just, so this might line up with the timing. This is like 2011, 2012.
Yeah. I was into basketball then. He played for the Warriors. Oh, no, Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce played for the Celtics back then.
Yeah. So his team lost for the finals because this was in June, or not the finals, the playoffs.
Whatever.
This was in like May, June-ish. So I'm pretty sure around that. It was during that time. His team lost, and it's like commercially, it was a 5-hour flight to get where we were. 3.5 hours later, he was there playing, getting a massage from one of these girls.
Hell yeah.
Then we came back the next day at like 9 p.m. and he was just sleeping on a pillow on the floor next to the table. Like this dude just went in, got drunk, fucked hookers, and played poker. Like it's like it's off season. I can do all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm not accusing Paul Pierce of fucking hookers if it's the wrong guy because I don't know the game very well.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it was him.
You know, I was going to say something about parties when you were talking about like you can go to a party and have something bad happen that's completely out of your control. Like I had a party at my house when I was in high school. Like I was probably like 16 or 17. And like this guy and his ex-girlfriend were there, and like the ex-girlfriend was hooking up with another guy, and he found out about it, and he like choked her out, and then we beat the shit out of him and threw him out of the house. And the next day I had fucking alcohol poisoning. I was so fucked up. I was so hungover and drunk.
What if
And
that's how she liked it?
we don't know. And the cops showed up, and it was a big fucking thing. And that was the first thing that got me on the cops' radar. That like actually it was the dirt bike track. I tried to make a dirt bike track. They flipped out over that. Then the party happened, and then the hazing happened, and they really came down on me hard for the hazing after that shit. But like, you know, I was nowhere near that when it happened. It's not my fault that it happened. Like one of the Supercross commentators, like the what do they call them? The anchors or the guys who call it. Yeah, his name's Lee Diffie. He does a bunch of other sports too. He's very famous. And he had somebody raped at his house and at a house party. Like somebody got raped.
On his behest?
I don't know. We don't know. You know what I mean? Like, was it a Diddy party or was it a party like I had where
when you say he had somebody raped? I'm
like, that was a bad way to put
that woman.
He had somebody raped. Yeah, that was a bad way to put it. All right, Dan, let's fucking get out of here. That was the fastest hour we've ever done.
Yeah, it was fun.
As always.
When we're not paying attention to that political bullshit, we can have some fun.
Exactly, right?